Today I'm going to present and analyze the speech that Nelson Mandela gave once he got released from prison after spending 27 years of his life. But before I start with the speech, I would like to explain what kind of character Nelson Mandela was. Nelson Mandela was a black African student that studied law at the University of Witwatersrand. He was the only black African student, and unfortunately he faced racism. It was a common thing in South Africa back at the time. From that series of episodes, he started fighting against the apartheid, and in July 1952, Mandela was arrested for the first time under the Suppression of Communist Act. The sentence was fortunately only 9 months. In 1961, he led a sabotage campaign against the government, and he was caught and arrested. And in 1962, he was imprisoned, and he was sentenced to life. The speech was given on February 11th, 1990, and this day was actually the day when Nelson Mandela got released from prison. It is unbelievable the amount of people that came all over the world to see Nelson Mandela's speech, and he was very surprised to feel the love that the entire world shows him. If you guys see the video on YouTube, you literally can see many flags from many countries that came over to see this great guy. On the way to the podium, he has a big smile on his face. He keeps wave at all the people that came over to listen to his speech. He does not stop doing that for many minutes. I would like to dwell once again on the amount of love that all the people who attended the ceremony showed to Mandela, because it took Mandela over 5 minutes and a half before he was actually able to say something on the microphone. This was because all the people were keep screaming and yelling, and the crowd was all fired up. A nice and interesting question is, how does Mandela behave on the podium? Nelson Mandela, during his way to the podium, is very calm and composed. Many people could thought that he was going to be angry because he spent more than a quarter of his life in prison. He behaved really well, as a good speaker should do. Emotion did not carry him away at all. Being calm showed to many white people that back at the time were thinking that black African people were like animals that could not behave as humans, that they were wrong, and instead they could not consider themselves as humans if they were still believing that there are different races between humans. He acted funny too, because when he was going to start speaking, he put sunglasses on, and to show that I think he made that choice because he thought he could mean like that he was ruling the scene that night, and he was a free man once again. During the speech, he acted very serious but still composed when he had to speak about his main ideas to prove that he was not joking anymore, and he had to finish what he was building before he got arrested. And during this speech, he said, "Today, the majority of South Africa, black and white, recognize the apartheid as no future. It has to be ended by our own decisive mass action in order to build peace and security." I believe this quote is very important, and many white people actually changed their mind on this point of view after hearing him. During his speech, Nelson Mandela dedicated many minutes to speak about his friend and president of American Congress, Tambo, that he was suffering a stroke problem, and Mandela reassures the people that the recovery is going well and is in a clinic in Sweden. Mandela is such a great speaker because, as said before, he's able to focus on his main points, and at the same time he is able to honor people, in this case Tambo, his close friends, which put their body on the line to lead the cause that all black African people were believing in. And I believe that during his speech, even Mandela himself understood that he accomplished his goal, because at every pose he was taking, the entire crowd was reacting very positively. I would like to finish my speech saying that Mandela was a legend because he was able to change a reality to another while he was in prison, no one would have thought that he was going to become the first black president of South Africa. One of the most important, significant phrases that he said during this speech is, "There must be an end to white monopoly or political power." Thank you.